Hey there, friends. You know those times when you're trying to share an idea, connect with someone, or just make your voice heard, but it feels like you're hitting a wall? Maybe it's a work meeting where you're pitching a new project, or a family dinner where you're trying to get everyone on the same page. We've all been there, and let me tell you, those moments can feel tough. But here's the good news. Communication is a skill you can master, and today, we're diving into the brilliance of Napoleon Hill, the guy who wrote Think and Grow Rich and studied the secrets of the world's most successful people. His communication lessons? They're like a treasure map for building stronger relationships, inspiring others, and achieving your dreams. These ideas totally changed my life, and I'm so excited to share them with you. So grab a comfy spot, maybe a snack, and let's talk about how to communicate like a pro, Hill style. Let's start with a bit about Napoleon Hill, because his story is so inspiring. Born in 1883 in a tiny cabin in Virginia, Hill had a rough start. He grew up in poverty, lost his mom when he was just a kid, and had to figure out life fast. But he had this unstoppable curiosity. When he met Andrew Carnegie, the steel tycoon, Carnegie challenged him to study success by interviewing the biggest names of the era, like Thomas Edison, Henry Ford, and Alexander Graham Bell. Hill spent 20 years on that mission, and in 1937 he published Think and Grow Rich, a book that sold over 100 million copies and still inspires people today. Why? Because Hill didn't just talk about money. He talked about mindset, connection, and how to communicate your vision in a way that moves people. For us middle-aged folks in our 40s, 50s, or beyond, his lessons are perfect. We've got the wisdom and experience to make things happen, and Hill's ideas give us the tools to shine. So, why does communication matter so much? It's the bridge between your dreams and reality. Whether you're leading a team, building friendships, or chasing a big goal, how you communicate shapes your success. A 2019 study from Harvard Business Review found that people with strong communication skills are 50% more likely to influence others and achieve their goals. Hill knew this, and his 7 communication lessons are all about connecting with people in a way that's authentic, positive, and powerful. Let's dive into the first one. Speak with enthusiasm. Hill said, "Enthusiasm is the spark that ignites success." When you talk with passion, people can't help but pay attention. Think about someone like Oprah Winfrey. Whether she's sharing a book recommendation or interviewing a guest, her energy pulls you in. A 2020 study from the University of California found that enthusiastic speakers are 30% more persuasive, because their excitement shows confidence and belief. Hill believed enthusiasm comes from loving what you're saying and believing it matters. Here's how this plays out. Imagine you're at a community meeting, suggesting a new park project. Instead of saying, "It could be nice, try, I'm so excited about this park. It's going to be a place where our kids can play and we can all connect." That energy shifts the room. I tried this when I wanted my co-workers to join a charity walk. Instead of a dull, "It's for a good cause," I said, "Guys, this walk is going to be so fun, and we're helping kids in need. I'm pumped." Half the team signed up, and we had a blast. Enthusiasm isn't about being over the top, it's about letting your heart show. Next time you're sharing an idea, crank up the passion. It's like adding a little magic to your words. But enthusiasm alone isn't enough. You've got to back it up with substance. Hill was all about preparation, and that's where his lessons get practical. He believed that great communicators know their stuff and share it in a way that's relatable. For example, let's say you're pitching a new idea to your boss. Before you walk in, think about what matters to them. Maybe it's saving time or boosting results. Then tie your idea to that. I did this when I wanted to start a new volunteer program at my church. I knew the pastor cared about community impact, so I said, "This program could bring our neighbors together and make a real difference. I'm so excited to see it grow." He loved the passion and the plan, and we got the green light. Let's talk about why enthusiasm resonates so much for us middle-aged folks. By this point, we've got stories, experiences, and a sense of what really matters. Maybe you've raised kids, built a career, or weathered some storms. That gives you a unique voice, and Hill's lesson helps you share it with energy. A 2021 study from the University of Oxford found that people in their 40s and 50s who communicate with passion report higher job satisfaction and stronger personal relationships. So, whether you're talking to your team, your family, or your community, let that enthusiasm flow. It's your secret weapon. The second lesson is listen to understand, not to reply. Hill was huge on this. He said, the best communicators are the best listeners. Listening isn't just staying quiet while you plan your next line. It's really hearing what someone's saying and showing you care. A 2017 study from Stanford University showed that active listening, things like nodding, asking questions, and paraphrasing, makes people feel valued and builds trust. Think about Ellen DeGeneres. When she talks to guests on her show, she listens so intently, it's like they're the only person in the world. That's why people open up to her. Try this in your life. Next time your friend or spouse is talking, don't jump in with your own story. Ask a question instead. If they're stressed about a work deadline, say, "Wow, that sounds intense. What's been the toughest part?" I did this with a neighbor who was always reserved. I asked, "What's something you've been into lately?" Turns out he's a huge history buff, and we ended up swapping stories about World War II documentaries. Now we chat all the time. Hill's point is that listening creates connection, and when people feel heard, they're more likely to listen to you. Listening is especially powerful for us in midlife. We've seen enough to know that everyone's got their own struggles and dreams. By listening, we show we care, and that builds trust. I remember using this at a parent-teacher conference. Instead of rushing to talk about my daughter's grades, I asked the teacher, "What's something she's been doing well in class?" The teacher opened up, shared some great insights, and we had a real conversation. That connection made it easier to work together on my daughter's progress. Hill's lesson here is simple but profound. Listening isn't just polite, it's a way to make every conversation richer. Lesson 3 is keep it clear and simple. Hill believed that great communicators don't hide behind fancy words or jargon. They make their message easy to grasp. He said, "Speak so others can understand and act." A 2019 study from MIT found that clear, concise messages are 40% more likely to be remembered and followed. Think about Steve Jobs. When he launched the iPhone, he didn't say, "This is a multifaceted telecommunications device." He said, "It's a phone, a music player, and an internet device all in one." Simple, powerful, unforgettable. Here's a real-life example. If you're explaining a new system at work, don't say, "We're optimizing our operational framework." Say, "This new tool will save us an hour every day." I tried this when I was helping my mom set up her new tablet. Instead of tech talk, I said, "This button lets you video call your grandkids, and this one plays your favorite shows." She got it right away, and now she's FaceTiming like a champ. Clarity is key for us middle-aged folks, whether we're leading a team, teaching a friend, or even explaining something to our kids. Hill's lesson reminds us to strip away the fluff and get to the heart of what we're saying. But clarity isn't just about words, it's about intention. Hill taught that you need to know why you're communicating. Are you trying to inspire, inform, persuade? When you're clear on your goal, your message lands better. I learned this when I was organizing a neighborhood cleanup. At first I was vague, saying, "It'll be good for the community." Nobody showed up. Then I got clear. "Let's make our streets cleaner for our kids. Bring your gloves and we'll have coffee after." 20 people came, and we had a great time. Hill's point is that clarity starts with purpose, and that's something we can all practice every day. Now let's talk about lesson 4. Use stories to connect. Hill was a storytelling genius. In Think and Grow Rich, he didn't just list tips. He shared stories of people like Thomas Edison overcoming obstacles to make his points hit home. A 2016 study from the University of Chicago found that stories light up the brain's emotional centers, making listeners 20% more likely to remember and agree with you. Think about Michelle Obama. Her speeches are packed with stories, growing up on Chicago's South Side, raising her daughters, that make you feel like you're right there with her. You can do this too. If you're trying to inspire your team, don't just say, "We need to hit this goal." Share a story. Last year, I saw a team like ours pull together and exceed their target. It was incredible to see their pride. I used this when I wanted my family to try a weekly hike. Instead of saying, "Let's go hiking," I said, "When I was a kid, my dad took us on hikes, and we'd laugh and explore for hours." Let's make those memories with our kids. Now hiking's our thing. Stories are powerful for us middle-aged folks because we've got so many to share. Funny moments, tough lessons, big wins. Hill's lesson is to use those stories to make your message unforgettable. Storytelling also builds trust, especially when you're honest about your struggles. Hill often shared his own failures to show that success isn't a straight line. I tried this when I was speaking at a local business group. Instead of just talking about my achievements, I shared how I bombed my first big presentation and what I learned. People came up afterward, saying they related to my story and felt inspired to keep going. A 2022 study from the University of Cambridge found that vulnerable storytelling increases trust by 25%. So don't be afraid to share your real moments. They're what make you relatable. Lesson 5 is show confidence, even when you're nervous. Hill said, act as if you are already successful, and success will follow. This isn't about pretending. It's about stepping into the version of yourself you want to be. A 2010 study from Columbia University found that confident body language, like standing tall, making eye contact, and speaking clearly, lowers stress and makes you seem more trustworthy. Think about Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. His confidence is magnetic, whether he's in a movie or giving a motivational talk. Here's how to try it. Before a big conversation or presentation, take a deep breath, square your shoulders, and tell yourself, I've got this. I did this before a parent-teacher conference where I was nervous about discussing my son's grades. I stood in the parking lot, did a quick power pose, and said, "You're here to work together, not to impress." The meeting went so well. The teacher even said I seemed so engaged. Confidence is huge for us in midlife. We've got the experience to back it up, and Hill's lesson helps us show it, whether we're speaking at a community event or just chatting at a family reunion. Confidence also comes from preparation. Hill was big on knowing your material inside and out. Before a big talk, practice your key points, but don't memorize a script. Keep it natural. I learned this when I was asked to speak at a school fundraiser. I practiced my main ideas in front of a mirror, focusing on my enthusiasm and clarity. When I got up there, I felt ready, and the audience loved it. Hill's point is that confidence isn't just a feeling. It's a habit you build through action. Lesson 6 is praise others sincerely. Hill believed that appreciating people opens hearts and builds trust. He said, praise the smallest improvement and every improvement. A 2021 study from the University of Pennsylvania found that sincere compliments boost both the giver's and receiver's mood, creating a positive atmosphere. Think about Tom Hanks. He's always lifting people up, whether it's a co-star or a fan, and that's why he's so beloved. Try this in your life. Next time your coworker does something well, say, "That presentation was awesome. You made it so clear." Or tell your spouse, "I love how you always make our home feel so welcoming." I started doing this with my kids' coaches, saying things like, "Thanks for teaching my son to love soccer. He's so excited every practice." The coaches appreciated it, and now we've got a great rapport. Praise is especially meaningful for us middle-aged folks. We know how hard people work, and noticing their efforts builds stronger connections. Hill's lesson is to make praise a habit. It's like planting seeds for better relationships. But here's the key. Praise has to be genuine. Hill warned against flattery, which people can spot a mile away. A 2020 study from the University of Toronto found that insincere compliments actually reduce trust. So look for something real to appreciate. For example, I once told a colleague, "I really admire how you stay calm under pressure. It's inspiring." It was true, and she thanked me later, saying it meant a lot. Hill's point is that sincere praise doesn't just make others feel good. It makes you feel good too. The final lesson is be persistent but patient. Hill said, "Success demands persistence, but persuasion demands patience." You can't always win people over in one conversation, but if you keep showing up with kindness and clarity, you'll get there. A 2018 study from Yale University found that consistent, respectful communication increases persuasion by 25% over time. Think about J.K. Rowling. She pitched Harry Potter to 12 publishers before getting a yes. Her persistence and belief in her story changed the world. Here's an example. If you're trying to convince your boss to try a new approach, don't give up after one no. Keep sharing your ideas gently, maybe saying, I was thinking more about this. Could we test it for 1 month? I did this with my volunteer group when I wanted to start a community garden. At first, they were skeptical, but I kept bringing it up with new ideas, and eventually, we planted our first beds. Persistence is key for us in midlife. Whether we're chasing a career goal, a family project, or a personal dream, Hill's lesson reminds us to keep going without pushing too hard. Patience also means respecting others' timing. Hill taught that people need space to process ideas, especially big ones. I learned this when I was trying to get my book club to try a new format. Instead of pushing, I said, let's think about it for a month. What do you all think? By the next meeting, they were excited to try it. A 2019 study from the University of Michigan found that giving people time to reflect increases agreement by 20%. Hill's point is that patience isn't just waiting. It's trusting that your message will land when the time is right. Let's tie this all together with a story from my life. A couple of years ago, I was asked to lead a fundraiser for our local animal shelter. I was nervous. Organizing people, speaking in public, and asking for money weren't exactly my comfort zone. But I leaned on Hill's lessons. I spoke with enthusiasm, sharing why the shelter mattered to our community. I listened to volunteers' ideas, keeping my instructions clear and simple. I told stories about the animals we'd helped, praised everyone's efforts, and stayed confident even when I doubted myself. Most importantly, I was patient, following up with donors who needed time to decide. We raised $15,000, and I made lifelong friends in the process. Hill's lessons didn't just help me succeed, they made the journey joyful. So how can you start using these lessons? Pick one to try this week. Maybe it's speaking with more enthusiasm when you share an idea, or really listening to a friend without jumping in. Maybe it's telling a story to make your point or praising someone for a job well done. Start small, and notice what happens. Write down your wins, a better conversation, a stronger connection, a step toward a goal. Share those wins with someone you trust, because celebrating progress keeps you motivated. Why does this matter for us middle-aged folks? We're at a stage where we've got so much to offer: wisdom, experience, and a clear sense of what matters. Maybe you're mentoring younger colleagues, raising a family, or giving back to your community. Hill's lessons help you share your gifts in a way that inspires others. A 2022 study from the University of Oxford found that people who communicate effectively in midlife report higher life satisfaction and stronger relationships. That's the power of Hill's ideas. They don't just help you succeed. They help you live a richer, more connected life. As we wrap up, I want to leave you with a challenge. Over the next month, try all 7 of these lessons. Speak with enthusiasm, listen with heart, keep your message clear, tell stories, show confidence, praise others, and stay persistent. Track what happens. Maybe it's a promotion at work, a better bond with your kids, or a dream starting to take shape. You don't have to be perfect. You just have to show up and try. Friends, Napoleon Hill showed us that communication is more than words. It's about connecting, inspiring, and turning dreams into reality. You don't need to be a superstar to do this. You're already enough, with stories and heart to share. So, let's go out there and use Hill's lessons to light up our conversations, our relationships, and our lives. You've got this, and I'm cheering you on every step of the way.